everybody, my name is Jessica and I am one of the staff program managers at the Strong Jewish Community Center. And today we are going to be baking some homemade granola. So I always knew that you can make homemade granola, but it wasn't until about 2 years ago that I started making my own granola, and it really makes all the difference. You can get the flavor that you want. I like a salty and sweet granola. And that's what we're going to be making today. We're going to be making a salty and sweet granola, and it is actually from the cookbook Sababa by Adeena, which is all these Israeli and Jewish foods. So this is my first time making it. I'm really excited. Adeena was at the SJCC in November, and I've been really inspired, and I've been using her recipes from ever since she came. So we're gonna get started. I have all my foods laid out, but I'm gonna tell you what I'm putting in and how much of it so that you can make this at home. So let's get started. So we're first gonna combine all of the nuts and seeds in one bowl, and then all of the flavorings and the wet goods, if you will, into another bowl. So we're gonna start with 2.5 cups of rolled old-fashioned oats. So I've got that laid out here. Everything is pre-measured. And then I'm gonna start adding in all the other things that are gonna give the main ingredients and the flavor and the crunch of the granola. So I've got 1/2 cup of shredded coconut, unsweetened. I'm gonna throw that in there. I have 3/4 cup of chopped pecans. So I had pecan halves, and then I just chopped it, so I'm just scraping it off from my cutting board. So putting that in there. So that's 3/4 cup of pecans. Okay, and then I have 1/4 cup of pepitas, or pumpkin shells, or pumpkin seeds, excuse me. And I actually have almost 3/4 of what's in here is actually seeds that I used from a butternut squash that I cut open last week for dinner. So I toasted those and put them in here, but it's 1/4 cup of pumpkin shells or sweet potato seeds, so I'm gonna throw that in there. Next, we have 2 tablespoons of sunflower seeds, so I have that measured out. Dump in there. And 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds. Throwing that in there. And then we simply mix it, get it all spread out. It's already getting colorful. And I like the coconut shreds. It gives a nice little texture to it. So, all right, so that is the first part. We are halfway done with getting all of our ingredients mixed. So I'm gonna put that to the side. And now I'm gonna grab a medium bowl and a whisk, and we're gonna mix all the other ingredients together, which we'll then put on top. So we are mixing, let's see, 2/3 cup of tahini. I love tahini. I love desserts with tahini. So I'm very excited to try this. So let's see, 2/3 cup of tahini in here. Great, I'm gonna use my finger to get out all the good tahini deliciousness. All right. Okay, so that is all out. I think I'm gonna go wash my hand really quickly so I'm not getting tahini all over everything, even though that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So 1 second. Just washing my hand real quick of the tahini. Okay. All right, so that's 2/3 cup of tahini paste. Next, I have 1/2 cup of olive oil. So I'm gonna pour that in there. Next, I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of packed light brown sugar. So I have that measured out, and it's gonna just go right in here. Then I have a 1/4 cup of maple syrup that I've measured out, so I'm pouring that in here. Okay, then an ingredient that I've never used before, which is date syrup, or silan. So a 1/4 cup of this. I bought this online through Amazon, but you can also go to Whole Foods or a specialty Middle Eastern store and get that. So it's a 1/4 cup of Ceylon or date syrup. So I'm gonna pour that in there. It's very thick and sticky, as you can see. So I'm gonna use my hand again and then go wash my hand real quick. So got that all in there. Okay, we're gonna call that good. Give me 1 second to go get all the stickiness off of my hand. Okay, 2 more ingredients and then we will mix. So we've got, let's see, it is 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Gonna throw that in there. And then last but not least is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So throwing that in there. And now I'm gonna whisk this all together. And it smells so, so good. Ooh, and it looks really nice. You can see it. I don't want to spill it, so whisking all of this together. It's getting thick. It's making a nice brown color. Okay. Oh, I can smell the tahini, which I love. All right. So, I've got all that mixed together. And now, what do you think comes next? We gotta get all of this on top of our dried oats and nuts and get that in there and get that all mixed together. So I'm just gonna start pouring this over, and then I'm gonna be mixing while I'm pouring it as well. So, wanna get it everywhere. Make sure all of the oats are coated. Yum. This looks so good. Gonna use the whisk to scrape out the last bit. I'm gonna try to show you guys what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Oh, I can really smell the tahini and the date syrup actually. All right, so getting this all out into the bowl because I want this all in my granola. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna face the bowl towards me. Sorry I can't show you guys for a second, but I need better leverage. Okay. All right, that is all good. And now I am just going to make sure it's all coated. So just stirring. I want to make sure that there's no white parts left of the oats. And you can kind of fold it over each other. That kind of helps spread it. So you can see that's what I'm doing. Ooh, I'm gonna throw that back in there because my counter is clean. Okay. So, looks pretty coated. Smells so good. Okay. So, before I started this video, I preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what you're gonna want to do. And now it's really simple. I'm gonna lay this out on a big pan and we're just gonna put it in the oven. And there is one ingredient that I have not added yet, which we're going to add once the granola is out of the oven, which is 1/4 cup of dried fruits. The recipe recommends cherries or cranberries or currants. I'm using cherries. So we'll put that in at the end, so we'll get to see that. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my pan and make some room first. All right, I'm gonna grab my pan right here. It's a nice big pan. And I'm gonna get this spread out. And then it's just gonna go right in the oven. All right, so while I'm spreading this out, so it's gonna go in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. And every 5 or so minutes, I'm going to be going to the oven, and I'm gonna give all the granola a stir. I don't want it to burn in any places, but I do want it to get crispy. So I'm just gonna keep this spoon that I'm using right by the oven so that every 5 or so minutes I can give it a nice stir. So getting this all laid out, take up the whole pan. Smells so good. Okay, I'm kind of patting it to really get it down and spread evenly so I don't have any like thick clumps that don't get baked as well. Okay. I wish there was a way that you guys could smell what I'm smelling, but you'll just have to make it on your own so that we can talk about how amazing this smells. I'm sure it'll be delicious as well. All right, so getting the last pieces out, and I think we are good to go in the oven. All right, so there's the granola, and now I'm going to put it in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. I'll tell you how much I end up doing at the end. And every 5 minutes, I'm gonna go and give it a stir again so that we don't burn it. So I will see you guys once this is out of the oven. We are back, and we have our granola, and it is delicious and it smells so good. So I ended up keeping it in the oven for actually about 28 minutes, and every 5 minutes I would go in and I would take a spoon from the oven and I would kind of stir all the granola, especially from the edges, so that it wasn't getting burnt on the side. And then I took it out of the oven after 28 minutes and I let it cool completely. And I know it's really tempting to just eat it right when it's out because it smells so good. But you really need it to cool, because this is how you get these really big clumps, as you can see. And that's what I like in granola. I don't know about you. So these are all like, here's a huge clump. I'm actually gonna break this. That's a little too big. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna break this up into smaller pieces. And then we're gonna do the last bit of the recipe, which is very easy. So let me just, I wanna keep some big pieces, but not all of it. But this really turned out well. I have made granola before where I don't get such big clusters like this. So if you don't want clusters and you want more like toasted oats with all the flavoring, then keep crumbling. I'm gonna keep some of mine kind of big, but you can kind of see what we're working with. So, all right, so I'm just gonna crush these a little bit more. And then, if you remember, there was one ingredient that I did not add that I had to wait until the end, which is dried fruit. So I have a 1/4 cup of dried cherries that I chopped, and now I'm just gonna kind of mix them in with my hand. So here are the chopped cherries. I'm just gonna get them all over, and I'm just gonna mix it with my hand. And it's really that easy, and I'm gonna try it now. It's delicious. Ooh, it's so good. You get all the flavors. I love tahini, like I mentioned. You can taste the olive oil too. This is gonna be awesome in yogurt, or even just on its own with some almond milk or milk. You top it with really anything that you would do other granola with. So this is really great. I'm still breaking it up. I'm still mixing it. I'm gonna store this in a glass airtight container, and I'm sure I will eat it sooner than I want to because it's so good. But yeah, this can last up to 2 weeks in an airtight container. So enjoy and have fun eating and making this awesome olive oil and tahini granola. So we'll see you in another program through the virtual JCC. See you soon. Bye-bye.